This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News Free Dixie.
news free Dixie for the 21st century.
All right. Well, we all be is under heaven once again, the one and only, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, who is truly beyond category and always timely with his insights of wisdom and understanding into the human psyche today and yesterday. How you doing today, sir? Or tonight, rather?
Yes, sir. Doing fine, young man, except I got some bad news today.
Yes, sir.
News. GREgory passed. Great brother, 84 years old. We'll miss him.
Yes, sir. So could you share some insights about what made him so great, in your opinion?
Well, see, he started off as a comedian. And one of the more interesting ways of learning about human nature is to see human nature through the eyes of a comedian. And some of the things that they would say, some of the observations they would make were capable of giving you a profound insight into human nature. Richard Pryor, GREgory, and a few others I can think of were some of the great ones. Now, GREgory kind of dropped out of the entertainment business to get political. And I remember one of the more interesting things I've heard people tell me about in life was when he was regaling a bunch of us with tales of the march through Selma and what the state police and the local police were doing. And it was downright comical, but it was, very, very deep what he was talking about. So he was there during a lot of this civil rights stuff, and he was there when we switched over in the mid and late 60s to militancy. In other words, no more getting down on your knees until somebody beat you about the head until they felt guilty about it. But hell no, this isn't going to happen anymore. You do this again, try to touch one hair, and I'm taking you down, or at least going to play kamikaze on you. So he went through some transitions, and he wound up knowing a lot of people in America. His acquaintances were eclectic. Muhammad Ali, from the great Ali to Larry Flint, publisher of Hustler magazine. So he was there with a lot of people, and he was always politically involved and always had a great deal of insight. And I know you interviewed him several times.
Yes, sir.
So he's always been worth listening to and always can tell you something about reality. So he'll be missed. But he had a great run through life.
He did. Do you have any favorite GREgory moment you'd like to share or anything?
Told you one, like we were down in Selma, Alabama, commemorating the anniversary of that march, and when he was telling us about what it was like to be there,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to process it, Judge. I'm still trying to process that he's gone. I think it's like, man. But I want to ask you, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, Judge. Go ahead.
It's just like, wow, it's hard to cope with some of the people that have left us.
Right.
I can remember when they televised Ali's first championship fight when he beat Sonny Liston. And how we all talked about it the next day. And then when he took the stand that he did against the war, and then he came back, it was hard contemplating him being gone, when he left us a little while ago.
Right.
It's like you transition through life and you get past a certain point, you start seeing people that were just, pillars of your existence, and they're not there anymore. And it feels kind of weird. So he was one of the greats. That's all I can say about it. You know, it's kind of hard not to get a lump in your throat when you think about him.
Yes, sir. But also, I want to ask you too about it's something that's dear to your heart as well. His involvement as a pioneer in researching assassinations, particularly JFK's and Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. What are your takes on that? Because he had, did a lot of work in that field as well as researching.
Yeah, he did. We've had many a conversation about those things, and including particularly the King assassination that I got so caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I probably saw more of the record than anybody alive now. And I find it strange that the media has never contacted me to talk about it.
Mm.
And GREgory did, and he published a few things recently that shed light on some things that were going on. So we talked at some great length about the assassination of King and how James Earl Ray was not the culprit, and the FBI was implicated seriously in it, and who within the civil rights movement was implicated in being the inside man to help set him up. So we talked about a lot of things like that.
So what do you think about some of your views on what happened on April 4th, 1968? Like, what was his thoughts about? I know you said that the shot came from the fire station, correct?
Yeah, shot came from the fire station, not the flop house, not the bushes. And Memphis Police Department, by the way, in their homicide file, conclude the shot did not come from the flop house. They also concluded Ray was not even in Memphis on the day of the assassination. And for those who have not heard me say anything about it before, I'll just be very brief. King got shot by a two-man hit team from the fire station dormitory cafeteria. They used an XM21 7.62 NATO caliber rifle. It was a converted M14 with a special barrel. They made 63 of those, and the ballistics of the slug they took out of King's body matched the ballistics of that rifle precisely. Also, the ammunition type matches what they pulled out of King's body. The FBI got 5 of these weapons on invoice in late December 1967. The Defense Department wanted them for Nam, and they demanded them back. And in April of the year, the FBI did an inventory, and they were only able to produce 4 of them, claiming that one of them had been misplaced.
Wow. And like what I like about you, Judge, and also about Baba GREgory was the fact that y'all was able to do this type of work, this type of investigative work, and still have your credibility, and yet still able to make a living some type of way. I mean, y'all both well known and popular among the masses, but the powers that be could not shut y'all down all the way. I know I talk to people all the time. They have a fear to speaking truth to power. A lot of people. Like I was talking to, go ahead.
Well, that's just flat out cowardly. By the way, there's a movie coming out that I want to commend people to see, and that's about Thurgood Marshall, Justice Thurgood Marshall. And you've got to understand that some of these brothers that you hear a lot about were not all good, uppity folk, in terms of being goody two-shoes, suit and tie wearing all the time.
Right.
For example, Jackie Robinson doesn't have the widespread fame for some of the stuff he did for civil rights. For instance, Rosa Parks gets the credit for starting a big movement for refusing to move to the back of a bus in the South. 20 years before she did that, Jackie Robinson refused to remove to the rear of a bus in Texas. Only he was in a U.S. Army a first lieutenant's uniform with a 45 auto loaded, strapped to his waist, and he pulled it, and he said, "Somebody's gonna die besides me tonight," and they court-martialed him. See, we don't get that picture of our icons being a badass. They're sports heroes, or this is the great civil rights lawyer, but without the knowledge of him getting down and kicking some ass and having a gleeful time going up to colored only water fountains and drinking out of the damn things and defying somebody, not colored only, white only water fountains, and drinking with a cup because he said they were contaminated, and then defying somebody to do something to it. He was known for being able to wield a baseball bat very well, by the way, for something other than hitting a baseball. See, we don't get those parts. They like to give us the nice, pristine, clean things and push as leadership those who, to a nicety, were polite to white folk, you see. But we have to get into that. So check that movie out. It might be of interest.
Yes, sir.